That's what I mean.
At the last concert.
I'll see you later. Better holler.
Look at the old coat. Hey, Earl.
I got plenty of them. That's the worst part.
Aren't you glad I told you? It was the only best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Gentlemen who have about what we're going to see in a few minutes are going to assist me in unveiling the monument. Mr. Bill Robinson, Mr. Jerry Zanetti, and the chairman of the whole committee, Mr. Joe LaRocca. So if you just bear with us. And then I'll turn this over to Mr. LaRocca as soon as we do this memorable thing.
Jerry, stand in there. Back, go in there.
We'll have everyone. Might as well.
Yes, you should.
You should. How do you want this?
I think everybody's gonna...
Wait. You have to go on one side. What do we walk over? Where? Could I have the village trustees up here also? Franny?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Greg?
Get more intimate, is that it?
on to take this photo, it's going to take the front page.
Mr. Lynbrook, stand over here.
I'm getting bumped, fella.
Okay.
They said hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Glory, please. National anthem, Frank, please.
Please join in singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, 'twas so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Frank. It was a great delivery. I'd like to call Tom Duggan for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please, Tom.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom's father. Thanks, Tom. Tom's father was a veteran who lived in Lynbrook now. He passed away. I'd just like to let you know that. Most of the program is based on veterans, okay? I'd like to have Father Pye. Father Pye, please. Father Pye will give us the invocation.
I would like to ask, please bow your heads and pray together with me. Heavenly Father, we are here to honor our veterans, men and women, who made the supreme sacrifice for our country. We are the beneficiaries, and we are grateful. So we vow to remember them. Father, you have taught us that there will be struggles between good and evil, love and hatred, peace and violence. You have taught us to hold fast to the truth against falsehood, justice against injustice, and equality against slavery. When these values are at stake, we are to stand up to be counted. We are proud of those who did. We recall many of the glorious battles, of the times when our men landed on the beach of Normandy. We especially remember when our troops distributed food to the starving people of Somalia, restored democracy in Grenada or Haiti, rescued the refugees in a makeshift boat on high seas from Vietnam or Cuba. They were our ambassadors of goodwill, representing all of the United States of America. Not for any territorial gain, not for any individual quest for fame, but for values and belief beyond material ambition, and for world peace and harmony and universal brotherhood. Father, help us with our effort in eliminating war and violence around the world. Grant us courage and wisdom. May we never abandon the struggle against evils of every kind, especially the evil of national, religious, and racial prejudice and animosity, the causes of all violence. May the liberty and justice for all be the guide of our course for the coming new millennium. In Christ Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Father Pai. Father Pai left a very busy schedule. He was out in Center Reach and made it necessary in his schedule to come here and give us the invocation today. So we appreciate that. We're going to make a change in the program a little bit because we had the officials later in the program, but some of them are here, and we thought it would be not only proper, since they're also busy, that they could come to the mic and say a few words. I would like to call Thomas S. Galata, Nassau County Executive.
You want me to have? No, that's okay. All right, let me thank Joe and the mayor and village officials for the invitation to join with you today, and to thank the village for all that it has done in working with the committee itself to raise the funds necessary to build and to install this monument representing those from the village of Lynbrook who dedicated and who served the greatness of this nation. There are many who are here today and many who cannot be here today, who served from this village to protect the interests of this great nation. And sometimes you hear a lot of criticisms about this nation or its policies, but in reality, every single one of us who is privileged to live here can appreciate and knows that we as citizens of this nation are privileged to live in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. And while we don't live in a perfect society, and we never will, there are those, our brothers and sisters, our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters, from this village, the village of Lynbrook, who paid the supreme sacrifice, who gave their lives to protect, yes, their families, but also the interests of this village, this county, this state, and the greatness of this nation. And thankfully, there are those who returned to our shores and who work in our communities today, some of whom are here, some of whom are standing to the side. Return to our shores, and they work within our communities, instilling a sense of patriotism in our young people, creating a better understanding among all of our citizens of what it is that we speak of when we talk of this great democracy, the United States of America. And let us not forget that just as those who are inscribed on this monument, there are still those in the military today who serve here and who serve overseas, protecting the interests of this nation. And most of all, let us not forget our MIAs and POWs. Let us not forget that whether it be World War II or the Vietnam War or the Korean War, Desert Storm, any other war or conflict that this country's been involved in, the final chapter will never be written until such time as there is a full accounting of every one of the sons and daughters of this village and of this great nation. Joe LaRocca whose family owned a fish store in this village for 50 years, has chaired the committee that has helped to make this possible with the help and support of a great many other people. Took upon himself an insurmountable task of garnering the names of people who had moved to other areas of the country and the world from this village who served this country's interests. And today, we see the fruits of the labors of the members of the committee. And Joe, I want to publicly thank you, because not only has Joe's family made a long-term commitment to this village and has been a part of the heritage and tradition of this village, he's been willing to give back. And here is the proof of his labors and the labors of so many others who have helped to make this monument possible. Joe is good enough to mention that my dad served during World War II as a resident of this village, along with so many others who appear on this monument. Mom and Dad lived all of their married lives in this village, and I was born and raised here. I spent many a happy day frolicking through the streets of this village and shared a sense of pride expressed by my own mother and father in the traditions that were spawned in this very village. Traditions set by many of you who are here today and many who went off to serve the greatness of this nation overseas. Our hearts, the hearts of many of our public officials who are here today, will always be in this village. It is imprinted upon many of us who either were born or lived or raised here, and will always be a part of our lives. There are many who are here today who served during that same period that my dad did. Frank Zabata. Frank, stand up 1 second, would you please? This man parachuted behind enemy lines. Very few who were on that mission returned. How many, Frank? They gave their lives because they believed in what they were doing and because our country called. You can't quantify that in statistics and numbers and dollars and cents. You can't quantify the impact that it made upon the families of the veterans who served. And you certainly can't quantify it in terms of what they were able to accomplish for all of us, for our children, and for our future generations. They made it possible. Now, I have to tell you, just very quickly, Dad served in the military until after 1945. Overseas, became a military governor in Italy. I was born in 1944, and I'm still puzzling how that could have been. Dad had time for a lot of things, despite his dedicated military service. Now, in reality, the names of every one of our veterans who appear on this monument carries a story unto itself. Every one is a part of the tradition and the heritage of this great village. Every one is a part of the heritage and tradition of this great nation. Because of them, we can be here today. Because of them, we can participate in patriotic programs on behalf of this nation. Because of them, we can raise our children in peace and in prosperity. There is no way, and you don't have to be a student of history to appreciate this, there's no way that you can predict what will happen tomorrow or the day after. We can be at a time of comparable peace and only find that something halfway a world has created a problem that draws us into that conflict. And so I thank, in being here today as well, the members of the military who serve this day, remaining ever vigilant and keeping this nation, the United States of America, the strongest and the best country in the world. I thank Joe and the members of the committee, and of course the village officials, our Mayor Jean, for permitting me to participate in this program and to reflect just for a few moments about my own father and the great sense of pride that I share in him and in the years that my mom and dad, my brother and sister and I lived very happily in this village. But I also reflect upon the fact that everyone who's here and countless others who are not here share that same story, share that same sense of pride. And I thank each and every one of you, and I thank our veterans for their commitment to this village and to our nation. And I hope that when young people in future generations will visit this plaza and will see that monument, that it will be more than brick, stone, and mortar, that it will truly reflect the cherished heritage and commitment that each one of our veterans helped to make possible. And I hope that each of you who are here today, whether it be your children or your grandchildren, that from time to time you'll bring them here and explain to them what this monument means, what each of these monuments mean, and how those who served and those to whom we pay tribute made it possible for them to be here and to share in the joys of living in this great nation and in the greatest democracy in the world. May God bless you.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Now, I'd like to call you, the New York State Senator Dean Scalos. Dean?
Thank you very much, Joe, and congratulations to you and your committee for this wonderful monument, to all of you that are here and representatives of our veterans organizations that are here. These organizations are the individuals that go out still into our schools and teach our kids about patriotism and the greatness of this nation. We thank them for what they continue to do. Tom mentioned 1944. I was born in 1948. So my father also served, and we know the sacrifice that they all committed on behalf of this great nation. You know, this time of year, especially every 4 years when we have a presidential race, we really do reflect upon, and it doesn't matter what your party is, whether it's Republican or Democrat or conservative or liberal, we should reflect upon the greatness of this nation, the greatness of this country, and what the election process that we have, how important it is, and why we continue to have the freedom to express our choice at this time of year. It is those who served our country, those who sacrificed their lives, that we have the opportunity to vote. So, Joe, this is a wonderful, wonderful tribute to those individuals who served our country. Many made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can enjoy the wonderful democracy that we have today. We thank you very much, and may God continue to bless you.
Thank you, Dean Scalos. Dean Scalos helped us to get a grant from New York State, from the New York State Veterans Affairs Agency. He did a lot of work in helping us do that. Thank you, Dean. We have with us also Anthony Santino, Councilman. Anthony?
Well, thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. It's truly an honor and a privilege to be here today on behalf of our town supervisor, Greg Peterson, and all of my fellow members of the Hempstead Town Board, and to congratulate Joe and Jerry and Bud and Mayor Jean and all those who worked so long and so hard to help bring this dream into reality. As long as we're all giving our birth dates, I was born in 1960, so I'm a baby boomer. And but my dad did go to he enlisted in the Air Corps, the Army Air Corps, and I learned from an early age I had to call it that, not the Air Force, because it was the Army Air Corps in 1944, and he went to war and came back, and thank God I still have him with me. But from my generation, to which this great war is only something that we read in the history books or heard our parents speak about, from my generation, let me just say to each and every one of you, to each and every one of the members of the generation who went to this tragic and terrible and great war and helped preserve American democracy and freedom, let me say thank you from my generation to yours for the sacrifice that I know we could never begin to truly fathom. Let me say thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Anthony. We have also with us Francis Becker II. Okay, Francis.
Thank you, Joe. I'm not going to give you my birthday because I just finally realized that Tony's younger than I am. So, but I'd like to just express a few thoughts about today, and especially about Joe. You know, this was a how long did this go on, Joe? This was a 4-year project by Joe and his committee, Bud Robinson, Jerry Cinetti, and others. And on several occasions, Joe had called me to help him out. And I remember one of those, Mayor Scarpato was instrumental in getting the books done. Dean Skelos got the grant that got this program all going. But Gene, ultimately, Joe had gone to Gene, to Mayor Scarpato, to help him print the book. And the books ended up, when they were printed, how many were there, Joe? 1,600 books. They ended up in Joe LaRocco's living room, and Alberta was using them to sit on and watch TV. So one day, Joe said, you know, Fran, just in speaking, not that he was seeking my help, he said, Fran, I got these books in my living room, and I just got to get them out, or else Alberto's going to ask me to get out, you know. So he said, a couple of us, Bruce Lean and a few others, we got together, and we went over to Joe's house, and we lifted those the boxes of books, and there must have been, I don't know, 1,600, but there seemed like 100 cases. We loaded into a bunch of cars, and we brought them down to the library. But it was really, this is such a wonderful tribute. And Joe, I've got to thank you because, like others here, my dad served in World War II as well. And I have these pictures and memorabilia that I have, around our home. And also the book is filled with so many, memorabilia. And I got to tell you, Joe, every time I bumped into Joe, I don't know if you bumped into Joe, you're almost scared to bump into him because he'd ask you to buy another book. And I've got about 10, 15 copies at home, and maybe I'll pass them on to my kids and ask them to pass on to their kids. But I have to tell you, Joe, and thank you from the bottom of my heart, that my dad's name is on this Wall of Honor, as well as many other here and those who served. And I'm so grateful that it'll always be there for the rest of my life. And my children will have to come down, and I'll show it to them. And I'm sure their children will come and show them that they can be proud of their grandfather, great-grandfather. And, of course, I'm so proud of my dad, the former mayor, Fran Becker. He's here. Dad? When you have a wonderful father like that, they show you the right things in life. They teach you about God. They take you to church. They teach you to do the right things. They teach you to listen to your mother. And I've got 11 wonderful brothers and sisters, and we're all enjoying the wonderful benefits of living in a free country and living in this wonderful town of Lynbrook, USA, because of the veterans and those people who served, not just in World War II, but in all the wars. Thank you so much, Joe. I hope I didn't talk too much.
Not at all. Not at all, Fran. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Of course, we made a change in the schedule. As chairman, I'd just like to say right now that Fran stole some of my stuff. That was, but I'll try to skip that so it's not, duplicated. I'd just like to say that they explain a little bit of the 50th anniversary of World War II veterans. It was formed in 1992. It was authorized by the Department of Defense and appointed by the mayor and the board of the village of Lynbrook. And we heartily thank them for the confidence they have shown to this committee. We have placed the letter A to the east and Z on the west, so that the sun in its cycle will glorify all of our veterans forever. Our missions were to publish a commemorative book and to erect a wall of honor. On completion of the first mission, 1,600 copies of this book, as Francis said, were dropped in my living room. There were 38 solid boxes weighing about 60 pounds. After about 3 weeks, we found a small storage space at the Lynbrook Library. Thanks to Gene Scarpato, Francis Becker II, and Bruce Leon, with much stronger backs than mine, as I soon realized, the books were transferred to that space in the library. As we began the request for donations on our house-to-house fundraiser, Tom Duggan took 2 boxes at a time into the trunk of my car with much enthusiasm, for which I was deeply impressed. This is the reason Tom has been honored to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today. Tom's father is a World War II veteran, as I said when he was up here before, but he passed away. We're sorry, very sorry about it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tom. Okay. Is he here? No. Oh, okay. All right, I'd just like to call Michael Terraciano to do the taps for us. We'll have 1 minute of silence for those killed in action. Thank you. I guess it's time. Things have been delayed a little bit, but the mayor was supposed to come up on a program before this, so we certainly want him to welcome us. And Mayor Scarpato, please.
Save the best for last.
I'm quite right. I don't care where I'm placed. I just wonder whether it's a good omen or not to be placed after taps or before taps. But someday we'll find that out, maybe. But it's so very fitting that we are all here today. And there go our youth of America. There'll be a hockey rink soon where they can go. But it's so fitting for us to be here today. And if you reflect on some of the ages that some of the people have given us today, born in 1944, 48, 60, and I know a fellow doesn't want to say when he was born. But how about 1931? So it means that I was born in 1931, which makes me the grandfather of everyone here today, so everyone must behave, even though I was left for last. But as I reflected this morning that I was 10 years old when World War II began, and I was a Boy Scout, and I heard the news, and it meant something to me, but I'm not sure at this stage of my life what it did mean. But I did realize soon later my two brothers were going to go away, and they both returned, thank God. And as I grew up in that age, never seeing the destruction of war, the death of war, the truly ugly parts of it, we never saw it in this country. And we never saw it in this country because these ladies and gentlemen that we honor today from Lynbrook went over there to keep them out of here. And we should be very grateful for that. We should be. And I am very grateful to be able to be here today, and also very honored to be the mayor of the village of Lynbrook. I'm very proud of that to begin with. But to be at this unveiling of a monument, which did start 4 years ago, and by the way, the mayor and the board at that time, the mayor was Mayor Calloway, who did appoint this committee. And at the very beginning, there was uncertainty as to what was going on, or how they were going to go about it, where were they going to find all these names, who were they going to miss, and who were they going to insult. Well, Mr. LaRocca called me up. They were having a meeting at his house, and asked if I would help. And I said, yes, I would. I came over, and I came in there, and there was a table with, I believe, 4 gentlemen sitting around. Clarence Matson, Joseph LaRocca, of course, and Bill Robinson, I think Tony Lenzo was at that meeting, and Jerry Zanetti. And they were sitting around with a bunch of papers and pictures and everything, and they had done a lot of work. And they wanted to print a book which would be dedicated to this occasion today. And that was very nice, and I saw I would say, without insulting them, mishmash of papers they had there. And I looked at it, and I went out of that meeting, went home that night, and I told Virginia, I said, Virginia, these men are so dedicated, but I don't think they can do it. What's going on is just too vast for this group of people to get done. Well, I'm so happy, so glad to be wrong. And I've been wrong many times in my life, but unbelievably so. As time went on, they never quit. And when it was stalling, and they seemed that they didn't have enough money because they had to raise over $25,000 to do what they did today. Not a penny came out of the village coffers. When it was stalling, people like Mary Manny stepped up and got out there and door to door and sold hundreds of books at the end. And other people did the same. But I know her because she lives across the street from me, and I think at that point she sold more books than anyone else, maybe, except for maybe Bud Robinson, I know sold many others. But it's just an amazing accomplishment that they did in 4 years at Rye. when I sat at that first meeting, felt they could never do it. Well, they proved me wrong, and we're here today to honor people who left Lynbrook to go over there, to keep the war over there and keep it out of our doorsteps, that you and I can be here today, that I could be your mayor, that you could be sitting in those seats. God knows what would have happened if war came this way, and it was very close. So thank you, Joe, and your committee, of all of you wonderful people. After this is over, we want you to walk around. You'll see there's names on both sides of this monument, and I believe there's some close to 1,900. 1,733 names. So congratulations, and thank you once again, Joe.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize the committee members we've been talking about, okay? We have Jerry Zanetti standing here. That's A. Jerry Zanetti. You'll see later what his first name really is. William G. Robinson. Right there. Step out. Right there. Clarence Matson is another member, but he can't be here. He's ill. He was ill, and he went to Florida. And excuse me. All right. Okay. We have Jack Gordon. Jack is on our committee. Jack Gordon compiled the first list of veterans for the commemorative book and collected many of the first requests for service discharges before this work was distributed to the committee. I want to thank you for that, Jack. Where'd he go? Okay. All right. John Cribbin's on our committee. John Cribbin made sure we stayed within the bounds of the village of Lynbrook. John? There he is, okay. Alan Cedarbaum. Alan Cedarbaum, you would never believe it, this man is 80 years old. Yep. He walked a few streets on our house-to-house fundraising plan, but was most successful with professional officers. Is that right, Alan? Thanks very much. Dr. Ronald Curtis was here before. He said he couldn't stay, but he was talking to most of his patients about this committee as long as it continued. And when it started, as it started and went on, I was in his office many times to deliver him the meeting notices. I want to recognize some non-members. Dennis Dunn of the Nassau County Veteran Service Agency, and Patrick Bruno. Patrick Bruno is, Patrick, there he is. Okay. I say without their help, we wouldn't have been able to contact all the veterans we did. It was a phone call to Dennis Dunn in Nassau County Agency that got me over to Patrick of Lynbrook, Patrick Bruno. Chris LeBarker and Arlene Berner for helping this committee to mail 2,000 letters in our first fundraising plan. Carol Burach for arranging for these chairs, for coordinating the collation, which you'll see later, and computing the programs which have been distributed here today. Thanks, Carol. My wife, Alberta, sitting right next to her, for proofreading and secretarial help, suggestions, and her ordeal in my constant apprehension to properly fulfill our missions. Lou Bello, Lynbrook Building Department, for the draft of the accurate and specific spot that's right here on this site. His practical experience and knowledge, and coordinating the choice of flowers and arrangement. The Lynbrook Department of Public Works for helping to carry bronze plaques and the placement of the chairs. Richard Flynn for his cooperation at Grice Park 2 years ago and setup of the public address system today. John Armani, let me say that again. John Armani for offering his intricate expertise, for being on this site each of 4 days of the construction, and for 2 additional days of directing the attachment and manual labor of mounting the bronze plaques, and to William Vogrick, who worked with him those 2 days of mounting. Bill Vogrick here. John, there's Bill back there. John Armani, you want to stand, John, please? There he is. Hi, John. Where's Mary? Hi, Mary. Okay. I want to thank Julie Presti of the Presti Stone and Mason Corporation for her dedication to this project. You don't usually find that. She had her workers come whenever we thought it was necessary for her to check things out, to make sure that the granite was placed properly. I'd like to thank Stephen Klein of the International Bronze Corporation, who delivered the bronze plaques voluntarily. We didn't pay for it. He carried the plaques. You ought to feel the weight of those plaques, each one of them. And he returned here each time we called him to make sure that things were in order. I know those are the people you like to work with. They were dedicated because of what we were doing. Natalie Lapp, Lynbrook librarian, and Patricia Poppy, the president of the Lynbrook Library Board, for allowing us to use the storage space at the library until the books were distributed. The village employees, for each time we needed to coordinate this project at the village hall, including the help in receiving some donations for the commemorative book. Eileen McCord for her concern in contacting some of the high school class who were veterans. Eileen here? John Baker for being available at every public fundraiser to help with acquiring donations. Okay. And John and Stephanie Madelone for donating the electric power to attach plaques. I mean, you don't realize what we didn't know, what was involved. We needed a generator here and other things at the last minute, the last week, talking about those 4 days that I mentioned with John Armani. So it's great to see it's completed properly. I think it's properly done. I would like to now present some special awards. One of them is to William Robinson, Bill Robinson. Come over here, Bill. Bill?
Yeah.
What do you Bill walked a minimum of 45 streets in addition to contacting many business establishments, relatives, and friends. His fortitude and enthusiastic feeling for this cause is exemplary. The plaque reads, 50th Anniversary World War II, 1941-45 Commemoration, and 1991-95, 50 years, Incorporated Village of Lynbrook. Citation, whereas his special dedication to our veterans and his strong commitment as a volunteer to make certain that the mission of the 50th anniversary of World War II Committee to erect a wall of honor would be completed, excuse me, the word is accomplished. Be it resolved that we are extremely proud to bestow the honor of this citation on William G. Robinson with deep gratitude and heartfelt appreciation. Joseph Laraco, Chairman. Incorporated Village of Lynbrook.
Ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries, it's a wonderful, wonderful occasion. And I'm very proud and happy to receive this citation. I want to thank Joe and the rest of the committee. And at the same time, before they sit me down, I have been serving on volunteer endeavors in this village for over 50 years, but never have I had more satisfaction than to see this wall of honor erected. And it all came about because of the dedicated and wonderful dedication of Joseph Laraca. On behalf of the committee, we would like to present a plaque to show our appreciation to our leader. And it reads, presented to Joseph P. Laraca in appreciation for his outstanding dedication and exhausting efforts as chairperson of the 50th anniversary World War II Committee. Your grateful committee, 1996.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a surprise. Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. Just hold it, please. And the next award is to Jerry. Will you hold the mic? Jerry Zanetti.
Gets the microphone.
I get the microphone. Is that right, Joe? What do you got underneath that blanket, Joe? I hope it's a donut.
Use this to shield it. This man is Americo J. Zanetti.
Senator, yes.
Everybody calls him Jerry, okay? I had to make sure that his name was Americo because I noticed it first on the plaque. And I said, you have Americo on a plaque. Where's Jerry's? Doesn't have Jerry on a plaque. Everybody's calling him Jerry. Anyway, let me tell you about what Jerry did in short notice. Jerry visited many business establishments and service clubs and brought a good share of the initial funds needed before his accident, continued to collect various donations, and maintained a strong commitment to the completion of our missions. And I always say that Jerry is on his 6th life. Thank you, Jerry. The plaque, Jerry's plaque, or Americo's plaque, reads the same as Bill's, okay?
I don't know. I put up with this man for the past 4.5 years. And frankly and honestly, he's done a tremendous job. We all love this guy. He has his faults like everyone else. But at the same time, the job that was done in the past 4 years deserves a tremendous amount. Joe, how should I put it? Thanks. That's the only way that I can understand it. I love you, buddy. Even though. And this plaque and this monument dedicates to a lot of my friends from World War II and during the time that I served. And every time I will look at this, I still have to shed a tear, to be frank with you, because there are many memories that go with it. All of the boys that have sacrificed from this village, 55 in all, have their star at the end of their name
on this particular monument. Please, make it your business to come and see it, because all of these boys need to be remembered, and each and every veteran in these United States have accomplished more than anyone else in the world could ever do for their people. They gave up their lives. And I would do that again if I had to. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerry. This next citation will be a surprise. Will Mary Amani step forward, please? Please? Please, Mary. Mary. Mary, quite contrary. Oh, I gotta get the flag. I gotta get the Mary, hi, Mary. Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? Let me read this. Mary is not a member of the committee, but when she became aware of this project, she walked 40 streets, made many personal contacts, written and personal, to establishments in Lynbrook and those with headquarters outside of Lynbrook. And I'm really honored to offer Mary this plaque, even though she's not a member. She really helped us. She was out every day walking the streets. Mary, thank you very much. The dedication on it is the same as the other two.
Thank you very much, Joe. Really, you shouldn't have done this, because what I did was just a little drop in a bucket compared to what you did, and Jerry did, and Bill did, because I knew this project was going on, and like a couple of years ago, I said to Joe, how is your project doing? He said, fine, Mary, you know, not bad, so on. Oh, after a long time, I saw Joe again, and jokingly I said to him, you know, Joe, you may have to start to ring doorbells someday. He said, you know, I think we're going to soon. Well, when I saw Joe again, I asked him what he was doing. He said, we're ringing doorbells. And I said, Joe, why didn't you call me? Oh, he said, I couldn't do it. Knowing Joe, he wouldn't. So that's how I started to sell these books, go from door to door. And it really was an experience, and I loved every minute of it. And it was for such a good cause, because Joe has his heart and soul in this. And he gave all, and you're truly a hero, Joe. You are a hero for having your determination, staying with this, never giving up, to the never did you relinquish. And this is it. You see, we all love you, and our town loves you, and I love you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much, Mary. I'd like to mention a few more members of the committee that made every one of our meetings. I hadn't mentioned before because I was interested in those that, like Clary Matson, that left. We had Bart Johansson. Bart Johansson was on our committee, then he got ill, and he couldn't continue with us. Anthony Lenzo, he did a lot. He took things to the Amets, tried to raise money with the Amets Club and others. He's a VFW man, and he helped us out a lot. Thank you, Tony. And then we have also Bart, who was another Amet, and that's the American Italians, Bart Raphael, and was on our committee, made all the meetings, and we appreciate that, Bart. Thanks again. Then we have, I haven't listed, Al Montemurano. Al Montemurano, even though sometimes he wasn't in the area, he made 3/4 of the meetings, and he helped us out a lot. He talked it up, and I know the kind of work you do, Al. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Maxwell Phillips, also could not make it. He was making some of the meetings, and he also got ill. He's another VFW man. I don't know if he's better now, but at that time he couldn't continue on with our meetings. I think that takes care of the members. One more thing that I'd like to do. On the program, you see a roll call. I want to call all the World War II veterans who left from Lynbrook, please. All the World War II veterans that left from Lynbrook that are here, like Armand Miarino, I see you there. Yeah. Will you stand? Oh, there's Maxwell Phillips. There you are. There's Paul Spinner. Call your name. That's, what was that again? Okay. All right. Is that all? Come on, Joe. I see you back there. Did you? Joe Shabbat. Joe Shabbat, will you stand, please? And listen, I don't want any of you people leaving without saying hello to me, please. Don't leave me. Some of you left the village hall when we had a get-together there, okay? We have a collation after this, too. I like to call the World War II veterans who are in Lynbrook now. World War II veterans who live in Lynbrook now.
Okay, there's got to be a few of you out there.
Okay. We got Al Montemarano, Bart Raphael, Alan Cedarbaum, Frank LaBarca, John Armani, Francis Becker, the first Judge Becker, Joseph Shabbat, no, who's out there? Jim Miarino, Jay Korth. Oh, Walter Abrams is right there.
What about the women? What about the idea? Get the representative.
All right, call your name out. What's his name? Oh, Joe Olivero. Joe Olivero. Edna Weiss. Edna Weiss. That's what well, which one? Okay, we have quite a few of you. You start from over here and give us your names.
Raise your hand and name. Bob Weber.
Jim Flynn.
Mike Ferrano. Al Martino.
Al Martino.
Ed Mollier.
El Mollier. Paul Spinner. Rocky DiCarlo, Bill Vogrick, Jay Korth, Elaine and Ed Montgomery back there. Yeah. Bart, oh. Who is it? Emmanuel Natoski, he's on the bronze plaque. He left from Lynbrook, right over here. Who did I miss? Speak up, please. Any fellas over there? Lynbrook now, veterans. You wanna call your name off? What do you want the name of Lynbrook? What are we gonna call? You want to call to the mic? Who wants to come to the mic?
I'm a Lynbrook veteran, yeah. I'm doing here, yeah. The name is Mike Fusar. Mike Fusar, in a few years. Mike Fusar.
You're in Lynbrook now. Is Mike Crusaro is here?
That's right, new member.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Big round of applause.
Excuse me?
How about a big round of applause?
How about a big
Yeah,
round of
yeah,
applause?
right. Oh, well, we're not finished yet. Yeah, it's good for World War II. No, we're not finished. I'm calling others. All right. Korean veterans. Korean veterans who live here now. Here's Tony Lenzo, Mayor Eugene Scarpato. Korean veterans who live here now. What's his name?
Henry Kappelmeyer.
Oh, Henry Kappelmeyer is back there. And who's this fellow here? Oh, Leo Murphy. Leo Murphy. Korean veterans. Any more? Any other Korean veterans? Okay. I talk right over them. Yeah, I know. That's what I want. Vietnam veterans. Vietnam veterans. We have a plaque for them there, and I thought surely that they would be here. The Vietnam veterans. We're calling Vietnam veterans that live in Lynbrook now, boys. Okay, not a one, not a single. I can't believe that, fellas, because in the book we had, I don't know how many we had here in Lynbrook, Vietnam veterans. If you have a book, you'll see how many we had there. I don't recall. It's okay. I want to recognize Robert Moynister. Is Robert Moynister here? His son was Vietnam. He was killed in action, and a ship was named after him, the SS Moynister. Maybe many of you know that. I thought Bob would be here. How about Persian Gulf? Persian Gulf veterans. That's odd. Okay, we skip all this. Presentations and awards. Village Hall, donated by the Lynbrook Chamber of Commerce. Some of the donations are home-baked cakes by the immediate committee. Carol Burach, Lee Henrik, Chris Labarco, Mary Armani, Lorraine Armani, Alberto Larocco, and other volunteers. Is Dick Fay here? Dick Fay doing
Dick is right here.
Oh, Dick, okay. Dick Fay, I want to thank Dick Fay for doing the video for us. And I understand we'll be on Cablevision. And I think Richard will have some tapes that for our own. We'll try to duplicate those. I want to just mention one more thing. I contacted Rabbi Harold Saperstein. He's a World War II veteran who left from Lynbrook, and he gave me his regrets that he can't be here. His wife is quite ill, and he must be with her. And that's the program, and I thank you very much for coming. Excuse me? There is none. There is none.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited back to the Village Hall for some collation. It's right across the parking field by the Dome building. We all know where it is. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you, Joe, and your committee.
Thank you, Gene. You're a gentleman. Always.
They're angry over there.
Yeah. What am I going to tell you? What am I going to tell you? Hey, fellas, watch out for this stuff.
I can't believe you can do it. Where's the bees? Which side of it? Make it this. The left side?
L to Z. Yes. See, that's one you should know. No. Brother's wife.
Oh, yeah. Well, where does she live? She lives in Madison. Oh, see you later. See you later.
Oh, I just, it's okay, Joe. Here, pal.
Over here this thing.